If you've been watching our Bill of the Day videos for Washington State, you're probably tired of hearing a lot of bad news. So today we're going to change it up. I've got some good news, some good bills just in time for Christmas. Hey everyone, I'm Julie Barrett, founder of Conservative Ladies of America and Conservative Ladies of Washington. And today we've got a special sort of bill of the day. It's a Christmas bonus. And today I'm going to tell you about a few really good bills that have been filed by Republicans in Washington State. Now, we don't really talk about these all that often because when you have a good Republican bill, it often doesn't see the light of day. Well, why is that? So, the issue is that Democrats having full control of the state legislature, and that means that they are the chairs of all of the committees, and the chair decides which bills will get a hearing and which bills won't. And so, most of the very good Republican bills that get filed never see the light of day, and you probably never hear about them. And you might be wondering, well, why isn't anyone filing a bill to stop men from being in women's spaces? Why isn't anyone filing a bill to allow for school choice? Well, they are. And so today we're going to talk about it so you know the good work that Republicans are trying to do in Washington State. So, first up, we're going to talk about House Bill 1027. This is a bill filed by Representative Cindy Jacobson, and this would be directed towards inmates, and it would force inmates to be housed based on their biological sex so that you would not have men housed with women. And in Washington, there have been a few different instances where women have been sexually assaulted by men in their women's facilities. And so this is a big problem in Washington State that has not been addressed by the Democrats in power. And so this bill would aim to keep the men out of the women's facilities in the prison system. So this is a great bill. It's House Bill 1027, Rep. Cindy Jacobson. Another bill by Cindy Jacobson is House Bill 1038. This is a bill that she filed last year, or maybe it was 2023, but she has filed this bill before, and this bill would ban puberty blocking hormones, cross-sex hormones, and so-called gender-affirming surgical procedures on minor children. So you would have to be 18 years or older to access these services, which is a huge issue. When she filed this bill last year, she made the anti-LGBTQ list. There's a national list actually, and her bill made it. So for sure it will get made it again. But this is a great bill that would go a long way to protecting children. And we know that in Washington State, especially Seattle Children's Hospital, and most recently it was found that Alderwood Surgical Center in Linwood, Washington, are one of the top providers of so-called gender affirming care in the entire country. So this bill would be really important, and this should be something that parents and citizens of all political affiliations could get on board with. Okay, the third bill we're going to talk about today is House Bill 1041. This bill was filed by Representative Jim Walsh, and this is a bill about tires. Now, I'm not a car person. I don't know that much about tires, but this bill is basically filed as what Jim says is a shot across the bow. Basically, he's filed this bill in an effort to oppose a bill from the Democrats that would put restrictions on the kind of tires that Washington State citizens could buy. Jim Walsh's bill, House Bill 1041, would allow citizens to buy whichever kind of tires that they want for their vehicle. The bill by the Democrats, I guess, would limit the tread, and you couldn't have large tread. And in a state like Washington, where you have some weather issues, that tread can be important. And Jim Walsh was on the John Curley show the other day and had this to say about his bill.
You know, John, there are all kinds of bills. And sometimes a bill is designed to become law and get signed by the governor. And sometimes a bill is a shot across the bow to prevent another bill from going forward. And I think that House Bill 1041, defending your right to have knobby tires if you want them, might just prevent that other bill from going forward. And if that happens, then it was successful.
So that's House Bill 1041, which it sounds like is really an effort to stop something from the Democrats, something part of their climate agenda. All right, next up, we have Senate Bill 5012. This bill is by Senator Phil Fortunato, and he filed this bill last year. His bill would ensure that sports would be dictated by your chromosomes. His bill would ensure that sports teams were made up of based on your chromosomes. So it would ensure that girls are the only ones competing on girls' teams and boys are the only ones competing on boys' teams, keeping the boys out of girls' sports. This has also been an issue in Washington, just like it has been in many other parts of the country as well. But most recently, there have been boys winning championships in girls' sports in Washington state. So Fortunato's bill, Senate Bill 5012, would force girls only to be on girls' teams and boys only to be on boys' team. Will this see the light of day? Probably not, but it's another great bill. And so you should know that there are people in the legislature that are trying to protect girls' sports. Our next bill is House Bill 1092. This was filed by Representative Travis Couture. This bill would amend several sections of Washington state law, specifically focusing on maintaining the safety of children. I'm going to go through a few points because this is an important bill. If you are watching Washington state news, you probably have heard a lot of the issues that have been happening with children, especially in the foster care system, and children of drug addicted parents that have been killed by drug overdoses or neglected by their parents because of their addiction. So this would allow for the court to take a child into custody if there's sufficient evidence of dependency and imminent harm due to abuse or neglect. It would mean that shelters had to give a hearing within 72 hours after the child being removed from the home. It does a number of other things to ensure that that child is protected and not placed back into the care of the drug addicted parent. So this is a really good bill that would protect children, House Bill 1092. All right, our last bill is Senate Bill 5003. And this is a bill that would give school security grants to public schools. This would be managed by the Office of Superintendent, and it would aim to increase the security in public schools. The districts could apply for grants to fund projects such as entrance and door security, fencing, perimeter security, and infrastructure to assist law enforcement response, such as two-way radios, cameras, that sort of thing. The program prioritizes projects based on physical security needs and improve safety with a maximum award of $2 million. So this is another great way that if the legislature was serious about protecting school children from harm, they could take a look at this bill. I don't know if it will get a hearing. This bill possibly could, but we'll have to wait and see. But this is just a handful of good Republican bills that most of them, aside from Jim Walsh's tire bill, are within our wheelhouse. And so we would love these bills to have a hearing because our team would love to be able to talk about them and testify in support of them. Unlikely, but you should know that there are Republicans in Washington state that are working hard to put in good policies that would benefit and protect the citizens of Washington state. So that is our Christmas roundup of good bills in Washington. The session starts on January 13th. So it's going to come fast and furious and it's going to be crazy. But we hope that you will take action with us in the next session and make your voice heard so that the Democrats in Olympia know that Washington citizens are not on board with all of these policies that they are trying to push forward. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn the notifications on as a lot of our content will be time sensitive. Please also share this content with your friends and let them know what we're doing and what policies are going on in Olympia. And we'll be doing a lot as other legislative sessions in other states get going in 2025. We'll be sharing other bills and things going on a national level as well. So thanks for watching. Thanks for engaging. Have a Merry Christmas. I'll see you next year.